What's up, guys? Many of you may have seen discrimination cases in China, especially towards foreigners, and you may feel a little helpless. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to properly report these cases so that you can actually make something happen and maybe change some of the behavior. Stay tuned. So how I'm going to be breaking down this video is in 3 steps. What you should be doing before going outside, during an event that you're experiencing discrimination, and afterwards. So before you go outside, I recommend you have the following things set in order. Your passport with your visa, make sure it's a legal visa and that all your paperwork is in check. Your temporary residence permit, which you get at the police station after landing in China for 24 hours. I know it may be hard in this situation because they're not allowing foreigners in the borders. But otherwise, if you've been here for a while, make sure you have that piece of paper that says you've been registered with the police station. Your health code. So there's an application called yaxuefang. You can see like a QR code around here where you need to put in your information like your name, your passport number, and maybe the expiration date of your passport, stuff like this. And it records a QR code saying your health status. So if anything abnormal were to happen in a place, then they'll probably scan your QR code and update the information. But otherwise, you start off clean. And you have to show this to a lot of the authorities or maybe the people checking at the entrances of some establishments to actually get in. And also be prepared to scan their version of the health code, which pretty much is like a clock in and a clock out of their system. So I've had to do 2 scenarios. I had to show them my QR code that I already set beforehand, and I had to scan their QR code saying I'm going into the establishment, and then scan again saying I'm going out of their establishment. I also recommend you save this article right here. I'll put it in the description below as well. But you want to highlight this area which specifies that now the Chinese government has a 0 tolerance for discrimination of any kind towards foreigners in China. And the reason I say this is because you want to show this to the person that you may be experiencing discrimination with so that they know that they're actually breaking the law. And lastly, I recommend you have these phone numbers on speed dial before you even consider going out. The first one is the hotline for your consulate. In the event there is an emergency, you can contact your consulate. They may be able to assist. The second number is actually a reporting number foreigners can use in English. The number is 125-8088. Say this on your phone, then you can select the English version and say you have a report to say about experiencing discrimination. If you have trouble communicating because maybe you don't speak enough Chinese or the other person doesn't speak English, you can save this phone number, 960-169. And I know it works in Guangzhou, but think of this as a translation service. It may be a little bit of a hassle having to bring your phone back and forth to the person, but they offer translation services in languages like Japanese, Korean, English, and some other ones. And they can also help you in the reporting process to kind of maybe de-escalate the situation when you're experiencing some discrimination. And lastly, this is a number I just always keep and it's easy to remember. It's 12345. What this number is think of it as like the go-to platform for any government services. So Chinese people use this number all the time, and foreigners can also use this number because you can select the English option where it's like the central hotline that they can guide you to the right governmental department to get your problem solved, whether it's dealing with discrimination or getting a driver's license or seeking medical assistance, etc. Now, I highly consider you read this article right here that goes into some of the regulations that foreigners must abide to, especially during these times in China. If not, you're really risking getting in huge trouble. I'll put this information description down below when you have some time. It's a short article, but pretty much to break it down is that it shows that foreigners should bring their own passport because it is against the law if foreigners do not bring some kind of form of identification, in particular their passport, unless they're a green card holder. So if you get spot checked and you don't have your passport, this can lead into big trouble. Also realize that you need to abide by random checks by the proper authorities. So if you have maybe the security guard at the entrance of the police do a spot check you and you refuse to show them your passport even though you have it, you're going to run into problems. Especially if you make a scene and you don't stay calm, it's not going to end up well. Another one is make sure you actually properly register with the police department. If you're in a fancy hotel, just make sure you have the address of the hotel handy with you so that the police know you register with the hotel. If you're staying with a friend not in a hotel, like I said, just go to the police station, get your temporary residence permit. It's just like a piece of paper saying the police know that you're located here, blah, blah, blah. And then lastly, and I see a lot of foreigners not doing this, wear a freaking mask. Like, it's policy in China, and if you don't wear a mask, 1, you're standing out. 2, the police are starting to get really aggressive with anybody not wearing a mask, not just foreigners. As you can see here, this this person just tried to walk out without a mask and he got thrown to the ground by the authorities. Like, don't stand out like a sore thumb. Don't paint a target on your forehead by not wearing a mask when the rest of China's wearing a mask. Just do it. Like, this is temporary, it'll end eventually, but right now, if you take these kinds of actions, expect consequences. So that kind of wraps up the preparation beforehand. I know it seems like a lot, but it may take you maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of your time to actually get this information all together. So the first thing, before you even try to enter the establishment, have your health code ready, that I mentioned in the before stage, and also have your passport ready. They may take pictures of your passport, they may take pictures of you. I've had it happen to me where they take pictures of me, but as long as you cooperate, show them all the legal paperwork, there is never any issues. Try to be as polite as possible if someone were not to let you in the establishment for some arbitrary reason or for discrimination. Translators help a ton in the situation. If you speak Chinese, better on you. But I'm going to teach you one saying that you can say if you were to experience some of this discrimination and you don't have a translator. Remember, you can also call that number I mentioned in the before parts if you don't know how to speak Chinese. But the expression goes like this: 反对歧视，和睦相处. What that says is, let's live in harmony, not in discrimination. You'll probably get a funny reaction because they probably won't expect this kind of response, and they may let you in. Also have the article ready that I mentioned before saying the Chinese government does not allow, they have a zero tolerance for discrimination, and they may change their mind. Now, if they don't change their mind and they still don't let you come in, then just stay polite, stay calm, start recording the situation, and try and get as much information as possible. And this is the time where you actually start reporting the case. Make sure you do either a videotape or audio recording of the situation so they have clear information. Remember, the number is 125-8088 to report the situation. You want to kind of explain the situation to whoever you're reporting the information to, and especially have the time and the location of where you experienced the discrimination. In particular, the name of the store, and maybe if you can get the name of the person, that's better, but you probably won't get that far. Have this information ready and go through the report process. Now, they still may not let you in, okay? There's a possibility they might not let you in because you're a foreigner and their leader or whatever they tell you tells them, we're not allowed to let any foreigners in. Let the government officials handle the situation. So after you actually reported the situation and they still don't let you in, the best you can do is just walk away and calm down, and then follow up on the situation. So after the event happens, follow up, maybe go there the next day or the day after the next and see if the situation has changed, if maybe the sign is taken down, and if the management allows for foreigners to come in. Before feeling hopeless of the situation, realize that I want to share some success stories that you may never hear in the news. So there was a place called W Salon in China. We had someone report the situation on the 13th of April, and they had a sign saying foreigners are not allowed in this establishment. And on the 14th of April, the sign was taken down and they were letting foreigners come in. Another story is probably one of the most famous stories, at least in the Western social media, where a McDonald's in Guangzhou, in the city I live in, wasn't allowing foreigners coming in particular Africans. And they had a sign saying like, no, you can't come in here, we don't serve you guys, all that jazz. Well, after it was being reported, this will never make the news, but what happened is that they closed down that McDonald's for a couple days, and all the staff received anti-discrimination training from the government officials, and they opened their doors again and allowed all kinds of foreigners to actually eat at that establishment. The point being is that this may not be successful for every single case. However, if you don't do your due diligence to do the reporting, then it will never get solved. Like, just crying about it and posting on social media, yes, it gets attention, but if you actually want to do something about it, go through the reporting I just mentioned. Again, I made this video to help you guys, to show you how to report these cases. If, let's say, you were to see discrimination amongst a certain race and you witness it, try to step in, or at least at a minimum, maybe record the situation and report it just to see that you've done your due diligence and maybe the situation de-escalates and in the future that establishment changes their policies. These systems, of course, still have room to improve. It's not perfect, but at least it's something you can take action on and actually solve in the future. I want to give a shout out to Expat Chinese, in particular Sarah. She's an expat that actually teaches Chinese, and you can't tell that she's an expat if you were to have a conversation with her on the phone in Chinese. She's very fluent, and her main business is teaching expats how to speak Chinese in China. She actually took her time to write some of these articles to kind of guide foreigners on how to properly report discrimination issues in China. I'll put her information down below in the description if you want to contact her as well, if you either want to learn Chinese or may need some help with some of these reporting. I hope you learned on what actions you can actually take about reporting discrimination cases in China. If you have any questions, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to see more content like this to help foreigners have a better lifestyle in China. If you want one-on-one consultation that I may not be able to answer in the comments, feel free to follow me on social media, shoot me a DM either on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll usually respond within 24 hours. Anyways, keep surviving, and I'll catch you in the next one.